Buckle up, everybody. We're diving deep today into Guiguzi Chapter 2.
Yeah.
Respond. We're going beyond just like reacting, you know?
Yeah.
This chapter, it's about becoming like a strategic observer. Someone who not only like sees what's going on, but knows how to respond skillfully.
This chapter is fascinating. Gives us a framework for understanding people, situations, even like the bigger picture of life, you know?
Yeah.
Almost like Guiguzi is giving us a cheat sheet for how to deal with all the complexities.
A cheat sheet for life. Okay, I'm in. So where do we even start with this framework?
Well, it starts with reflection and verification.
Okay.
It's the idea that understanding past patterns, both in our own lives and kind of in the world around us, can help us anticipate future outcomes.
So it's not about like getting stuck in the past.
Yeah.
But using it as a tool to inform our present choices.
Exactly.
And maybe even predict like what could happen.
Precisely. So let's say you're faced with a difficult decision. By reflecting on similar situations from your past, or even like historical examples, you know, you can identify patterns, potential consequences that might not be like immediately obvious. It's like having this mental database.
Oh, interesting.
Of case studies to draw from.
Okay, so that's really practical advice.
Yeah.
It's like saying, hey, don't just jump into things blindly.
Right.
Think about, you know what can history teach me about this situation?
Exactly.
Okay, I like that. What else? What else is in this framework?
Well, Guiguzi emphasizes the power of silence.
Silence.
Silence is power.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Isn't that usually seen as like a sign of strength?
It seems counterintuitive.
Yeah.
But think about it. When you're silent, you create this kind of vacuum that other people often feel the need to fill.
Right.
They might reveal information they wouldn't have otherwise.
Oh, interesting.
Or their anxieties or true intentions might sort of come out through their body language, tone of voice.
So it's not about being passive.
No.
It's about strategically using silence to observe.
Yeah.
Gather information.
Exactly.
Like those little cues people give away when they think they're in control of the conversation.
Yes.
It's like being a detective.
Exactly. And that leads us to the next principle. Symbolism and parallels. Guiguzi, he was a master at recognizing those hidden messages.
Yeah.
Embedded in words, in events.
Okay.
Even like tiny insignificant details.
So reading between the lines.
Yes.
Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. So for example, you know, a politician, their choice of words might tell you more about their agenda than their actual speech.
Right, than what they're actually saying.
Yeah. Or let's say a diplomat is analyzing a speech given by a leader from another country. They wouldn't only pay attention to the words themselves, but the historical context, cultural nuances.
Right.
And even, you know, symbolic gestures.
Oh, interesting. So it's like you have this secret decoder ring for human interaction. You're not just taking things at face value.
Right.
You're looking for that deeper meaning.
Yes.
And like, what's the strategy behind it?
Exactly.
Okay. My mind is blown. This is so cool. What else is there?
Well, the next principle is the net of understanding.
Okay.
Guiguzi compares understanding others to weaving a net.
Ooh, I like that.
You don't force information out of them.
Okay.
You kind of subtly guide them towards revealing their own truths.
So you're asking the right questions, creating like a space where they feel safe.
Exactly.
To almost trap themselves.
Yes.
With their inconsistencies or, you know, reveal what they're really thinking without even realizing it.
Exactly. Like think of a skilled interviewer who can gently lead someone to a confession.
Right.
Without ever raising their voice or being aggressive.
It's about finesse. Strategy.
Exactly.
Okay, this is amazing. What other gems does this chapter hold?
Well, sometimes words aren't enough. Guiguzi recognizes the power of evoking movement through symbolism. Oh, interesting.
He believed that symbolic actions can speak volumes, especially when words fail.
So actions speak louder than words, is that what you're saying?
In a way, yeah. You know, think about a leader visiting a disaster zone.
Right.
Just the act of being there, showing empathy, conveys more powerfully than any speech.
Right. Or even like, you know, companies donating to a cause.
Yes.
That they believe in. It's like aligning their actions with their values.
Exactly.
So it's about understanding that sometimes the most effective communication isn't what you say,
Right.
but what you do.
Yes.
Okay, that's really insightful. What else does Guiguzi emphasize in this framework?
The importance of iterative reflection.
Okay.
He believed that understanding is not a one-time thing. It's a continuous process of revisiting, refining, deepening our understanding.
So it's not enough to just like make an initial assessment. You have
Right.
to constantly kind of be reevaluating,
Exactly.
taking in new information. Yeah. Like let's say you're a general planning a military campaign.
Okay.
You wouldn't just create one battle plan and stick to it rigidly.
Right.
You'd be constantly gathering intelligence, assessing the changing landscape, adjusting your strategy.
Okay.
Or think about a scientist conducting an experiment. They're constantly observing, gathering data, and refining their hypothesis.
So staying flexible,
Yeah.
being open to new information,
Yes.
acknowledging that our understanding of anything,
Right.
whether it's a situation, a person, even ourselves, is always evolving.
Exactly.
Wow, that's a really powerful concept, especially today, when things are changing so fast.
And that brings us to another key principle, reflective listening.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What do you mean by that?
Guiguzi believed that to truly understand others requires a balance
Okay.
between speaking and listening,
Okay.
between expanding our own ideas and contracting to allow space for others.
Okay, so expand and contract, what do you mean in the context of listening?
It's like a dance. Sometimes you need to step back, be silent,
Right.
and truly listen without interrupting or imposing your own thoughts.
Okay,
That's the expansion phase.
got it.
And then at the right moment, you step in, maybe with a clarifying question, a summary, a thoughtful observation
Okay.
to move the conversation forward. That's the contraction.
So it's not about passively absorbing information.
Right.
It's about actively engaging
Yes.
to try to really understand.
Exactly. It's about finding that delicate balance.
Yeah.
Knowing when to speak, when to be silent, when to probe, when to simply reflect.
This reminds me of like those expert negotiators
Yeah.
who seem to like read people's minds.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they ask just the right questions, build trust, and somehow guide the conversation
Yes.
to a, win-win situation.
Exactly. And underlying all of these principles, the foundation of it all is self-knowledge.
Okay.
Guiguzi believed that before you can truly understand others,
Yeah.
you must first understand yourself.
Oh, it's that old saying, know thyself.
Yeah, know thyself. It's about recognizing your own biases, motivations, strengths and weaknesses.
Right.
Because if you're not aware of your own internal landscape,
Yeah.
you'll project those things onto others, distorting your perception.
So it's like before you try to figure out everyone else,
Yes,
figure out yourself.
exactly.
Because if you don't understand your own filters, biases, you're going to see the world through a distorted lens.
Exactly. Cultivating that self-awareness helps you approach interactions with more clarity, empathy, insight.
This is all so fascinating.
Yeah.
But I'm curious, how do these principles actually play out in the real world? Can you give me some examples?
Absolutely. Let's start with the high-stakes world of international diplomacy. Picture this, 2 nations. In a standoff, threat of conflict just hanging in the air.
Ooh, this sounds intense.
This is where a diplomat, armed with the wisdom from Chapter 2,
Okay.
can really make a difference.
Okay, I'm picturing like a scene out of a movie, high stakes,
Yeah.
calculated moves, the fate of nations resting on their shoulders. Where would they even begin? Our Guiguzi diplomat, that is.
They might start with silence as power,
Okay.
carefully observing the other nation,
Right.
their actions, their rhetoric,
Mhm.
listening for any little shifts in tone or policy that could signal a willingness to talk or maybe even a hidden weakness.
So it's not about like coming in with demands, threats, guns blazing.
No.
It's about stepping back, observing, letting the other side kind of reveal their hand.
Exactly. And while they're observing, they might be using symbolism and parallels,
Okay.
perhaps referencing historical examples of peaceful resolutions,
Right.
or
Right.
drawing on shared cultural values to create that sense of common ground.
So it's like subtly reminding everyone, hey, cooperation has worked before.
Yes,
Finding common ground is possible even when things are tense.
exactly.
But what if those initial attempts, they fail? What if the other side just refuses to negotiate?
That's where the net of understanding comes in.
Okay.
Our diplomat might engage in very carefully crafted dialogue, asking questions designed to gently guide them towards seeing the benefits of a peaceful solution, all while using, reflective listening to truly grasp their perspective.
So it's like setting a trap, but not in a bad way. It's more like creating a space where they can safely explore their own positions. And maybe through that, they see a new path, one that leads away from conflict.
Precisely. And throughout this whole process, our diplomat would be constantly iterative reflection, reviewing the information, reassessing their understanding, adjusting their approach.
It's like they're playing 4D chess, always thinking several moves ahead, adapting to the changing dynamics, but never losing sight of that goal.
Exactly. Peace. Now let's shift gears from global stage to the corporate boardroom.
Okay, I'm with you.
Imagine a CEO facing a major change, like a merger or a restructuring.
Oh yeah, high pressure, lots of uncertainty, anxiety for the employees. How would our Guiguzi CEO handle this?
Well, they might start by looking back at the company's history, using that reflection and verification to analyze how they've handled similar challenges before.
So they're not reinventing the wheel.
Exactly.
They're learning from experience, what worked, what didn't.
They're tapping into that collective wisdom of the organization.
Right. Recognizing that, hey, the past has valuable lessons.
Exactly.
But how do you get everyone on board with these big changes? People, they naturally resist change. It threatens their sense of security.
This is where evoking movement through symbolism is so important. Our CEO might use powerful metaphors, imagery, to paint a vision of the future. One that excites, inspires, instead of making them afraid.
So instead of just dry facts and figures, they're telling a story, something people can connect with emotionally. A story that shows, hey, this change, it's going to benefit you.
Exactly. And at the same time, they would be practicing reflective listening. Holding meetings, having discussions, truly hearing those concerns.
Addressing them with empathy.
Exactly. So it's not just about dictating from the top down. It's about creating a dialogue.
Making people feel like they're part of the process.
Exactly. Now, let's zoom in even further to a family in conflict.
Ooh, okay.
Siblings fighting, a couple heading for divorce.
Family conflicts, those are tough. The emotions are so raw. How would our Guiguzi mediator step in here?
They might start by creating an environment for open communication. Perhaps using silence as power, to give everyone a chance to calm down, gather their thoughts.
So instead of everyone shouting, escalating the situation, there's a moment of quiet to let things cool off. And that opens the door for real dialogue.
And from there, they might use the net of understanding to help each person express themselves. Their pain points, their needs, their hopes.
But how do you get past the blame game? In a family fight, everyone's trying to prove they're right, the other person's wrong.
Reflective listening is key here. The mediator, they're neutral. Reflecting back what they hear. Validating feelings without taking sides. Helping them understand each other's perspective.
So they're like holding up a mirror, showing each person the impact of their words, their actions, and hopefully through that, they can start to empathize.
And throughout this whole process, the mediator would be iterative reflection, Observing the dynamics, analyzing the root causes, adjusting their approach. Might even use symbolism and parallels. Sharing stories of other families who've overcome similar struggles, offering a glimmer of hope that even the toughest conflicts can be resolved.
It's like they're weaving a tapestry of understanding, carefully bringing together all those different perspectives, emotions, experiences, to create a new story, one that allows for healing.
Now let's shift our focus inward to personal growth. Imagine someone battling a deep-seated fear or a pattern of self-sabotage.
We've all been there. Those internal struggles, they can feel impossible to overcome. How could our Guiguzi life coach help someone through this?
They might start by encouraging self-knowledge. Through journaling, meditation, introspection.
So becoming aware of those inner voices. The negative thoughts, the limiting beliefs that are holding them back.
And once those patterns are brought to light, they can be challenged. Reframing their thinking, building a more positive inner dialogue.
But what about those deep fears? They can be so paralyzing.
This is where evoking movement through symbolism comes in.
Okay.
The life coach might suggest symbolic actions that represent the desired change, like writing a letter to their fear and burning it, or creating a vision board that embodies their goals.
So taking concrete action, even small ones,
Right.
that symbolize the change they want.
Exactly. Almost like a ritual to solidify their intention.
Okay.
And throughout this journey of personal growth, there would be iterative reflection,
Right.
tracking progress, celebrating victories, adjusting their approach.
It's like climbing a mountain, one step at a time.
Exactly.
Constantly reevaluating the path, celebrating milestones, never losing sight of that summit.
Now let's step into the world of business strategy.
Right.
A company launching a new product or entering a new market.
Ooh, high stakes. Lots of potential, but also a lot of risk. How would our Guiguzi strategist approach this?
They might start with thorough market research,
Okay.
using reflection and verification,
Right.
to analyze consumer trends, competitor strategies, economic forecasts. They wouldn't just jump in blind.
So they're doing their homework.
Exactly.
Sure they understand the landscape.
Yeah, gathering the intelligence,
You-
make informed decisions.
Okay. But how do they create a product, a service, that really connects with people? There's so much competition out there. How do they stand out?
Symbolism and parallels are crucial here. They might craft a brand story that resonates emotionally, using symbolism, imagery, to evoke feelings of aspiration, belonging, nostalgia.
Oh, interesting.
They might even draw parallels to successful launches in the past
Right.
to show their track record of innovation and customer satisfaction.
So it's not just about the features, the specs.
Right.
It's about creating that emotional connection.
Yeah,
A
exactly.
sense of identity, a story people want to be a part of.
Exactly. And once the product is launched, they would use iterative feedback loops,
Okay.
gathering customer feedback, analyzing data, making adjustments.
So it's not just set it and forget it.
Right.
It's constantly evolving.
Yeah, adapting to the market.
Making sure they're meeting those needs.
Exactly. And through it all, they'd be practicing reflective listening, not just with customers, but within their team, fostering that culture of open communication.
So it's like creating this feedback ecosystem
Yeah.
where information flows freely, allowing for course corrections, innovation.
As you can see, the principles for Chapter 2, they're so versatile, offering insights and strategies for so many different experiences.
It's amazing. These ancient principles, written centuries ago, they're still so relevant today. International relations, business, personal growth, conflict resolution. It's like Guiguzi was a time traveler, giving us this roadmap for success in any era.
Yeah, it really shows you how timeless Guiguzi's wisdom is. These aren't just, fads. They're fundamental principles for understanding people, for navigating life.
They're like Chapter 2 is giving us this secret weapon, not for like manipulating people, but for responding to the world with more wisdom, more intention, more grace even.
Exactly. It's about moving beyond those knee-jerk reactions, the impulsive responses that often lead us down the wrong path. Guiguzi's framework encourages us to pause, observe, reflect, and then choose our actions with a deeper understanding of everything that's going on.
So it's not about like suppressing our emotions or becoming, robots. It's about becoming more aware of our own inner world and the subtle dynamics of the world around us. So we can respond authentically, but also effectively.
Exactly. It's about that delicate balance between our inner world and the outer world, between our own needs and the needs of others.
And that brings us back to the foundation of it all, self-knowledge. It's like Guiguzi saying, hey, if you want to understand the world, if you want to make a difference, if you want to navigate life with, skill and grace, start by understanding yourself.
Because at the end of the day, our understanding of the world, it's always filtered through our own perceptions, beliefs, experiences. If we're not aware of those filters, if we don't examine our biases, our blind spots, well, we're going to misinterpret things, misjudge people, make decisions that don't really serve us or the people around us.
It's like trying to navigate a maze in the dark. You're just bumping into walls, never finding the exit. But if you can, shed some light on the path. See the obstacles more clearly. You have a much better chance of finding your way through.
And self-knowledge, that's the light. It allows us to see ourselves and the world more clearly, to make better decisions, to face challenges with more skill and resilience.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into Chapter 2 of Guiguzi, have to ask, what's the one thing you hope our listeners take away from this?
That in a world that often feels so chaotic, so overwhelming, a world that's constantly, demanding our attention, the strategies of a sage, they offer a path to clarity, to influence, to peace.
It's like Guiguzi is giving us a compass and a map, not to tell us where to go,
Yeah.
but to help us choose our own path with wisdom, intention, and grace.
In that journey, that lifelong pursuit of understanding, it all starts with a simple question. How will you choose to respond?
Wow, that's a powerful question. And on that note, we'll wrap up this deep dive into Chapter 2 of Guiguzi. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time for more insights from the Master Strategist.